Hi everyone, welcome to Gardening 2021 style. We're in January now, the sun's out today, it's a bit fresh, a bit cold, but the garden moves on, as does everything in life. I really hope you had a chance to relax and to take a break over the festive period, and I know we've returned to very difficult positions and conditions here. We've been in tier 4 in the UK, in my part of the UK, since early December, and it's going to carry on for a while yet. So living's not easy, but neither is work. But we need to make the best of it and look again for the positives and the green shoots, because that's what's going to get us through this difficult period. You want some good news to start us with? There'll be an hour more sunlight this month than last month. So already the year is turning, and yeah, by the end of this month, start to feel like we're moving towards spring and towards a better time of the year. So bear that in mind, tick off the days, tick off the weeks, and the garden will start to wake up as we go, because December into January, into the start of February really is a really quiet month in the garden itself. In fact, some of the best things you can do in the garden is stay away from it, certainly stay away from the lawn, because it's really boggy and damp and you can do a lot of damage. So that's a little bit of advice to start with. So these are monthly at the moment because there's not much happening, but I did want to sort of do one at this point just to let you know I'm still here, to set out what I'm doing now, and I'm supposed to think about what we can do for the rest of the year, because if you're anything like me, this is the time of year when I set out normally my holidays for the year. I book my leave, I plan out most of the work that I can do throughout the year. I didn't do it last year because gardening really wasn't that big a thing for me, I suppose, then, but also now's a really great chance to look at the garden and think, what do I want to do throughout the year? So I've got some evidence, I've got some things I can draw on. I've got my little gardening book that I kept last year. It tells me what I did last year. I've got my calendar from last year as well, which tells me where I was and what I was doing. And I've got the various books and resources around me that I can read into to see what I should be doing now. So it's about planning this time of year. I think being creative, think about what you'd like to do in the garden this year and what you'd like to grow. And I suppose reviewing last year as well, making sure you've just taken stock of what happened last year. So this time last year, it's really interesting. This time last year, here's the calendar. So we knew COVID was just kicking off in China and in the Far East, but we didn't really know much more than that. And we had early blogs and videos from Joe Lam out in Beijing, sort of forewarning us about what was going to come. But still, life seemed to be pretty normal, because if you look at my calendar here, now this year is already much better than last year, because this time the start of January last year, I was in the northeast of England at a funeral. So this year started better than last year from my point of view. So that's something. But yeah, this time last year, lots of trips to London for work. Then went to North Carolina to do some golden profiling sessions with Tim and Albert's teams. That took up the third week of January, straight back, and then on a train to Rotterdam for the Rotterdam Film Festival, and then back and travelling to Oxford for meetings. So this year doesn't look like that. This is a busy calendar of things that are going on. This year, this is our calendar, joint calendar at that. So yeah, school started last week, full reopening of school next week. Those are things that are happening, that we think are happening as it stands now. But other than that, I've got nothing in the diary there. No trips abroad, no trips around the country, no trip to Rotterdam, unfortunately. So here's the quick tour of the garden as it stands now. You can see some of the bulbs, the daffodils and muscari, as per the label, are coming up, which is great. And that's the same across all here. And we've got plenty more at the front garden as well. So bulbs are coming up, which is a great sign. We've got some more pots here that we'll start using for our chilies later in the year. We've got plenty of compost and more to order. Remember, peat free, wherever you can, peat free. In the woodshed, we've got these raised beds we got from B&Q, not treated, so not bad for the garden. Whether they'll last a British winter or two, I don't know, but it gives us a chance to do something affordable and potentially not too permanent, which is what we're looking for. Moving through, more compost of course. These are the shallots, the winter shallots, which are looking really, really healthy. Don't think they've come too early. We had a few frosts recently and they seem to be okay, so that's good. Then moving around, a Christmas present there. There's a plum tree, which looks a bit sickly now, but will be fantastic once the sun comes out. More bulbs coming through in here. The greenhouse. So we've got some hyacinths in here. The chilies and the citrus fruits are all now sort of dormant for the winter, but our sweet pea looking great in here. The biggest one's at the back, but again, if I put my hand up here, you can see now we're sort of getting halfway up the arm, almost towards the elbow with the largest one, which means, yeah, they are really going good guns. And what we do at this point, and even before sometimes, is pinch out the top. So here, take the top of it, pinch that out. That will stop it growing any sort of, or much taller. It will start thinking about being bushy. The side roots will now start growing. So that's a tip. I'm going to do some like that and leave others untipped, and we'll see which ones grow the best. We've got our eggs in here that we keep ready to put on the garden to stop the slugs running over things. So that's for later on. The Nemesia, almost gone but not quite. So that's a good sign, is that they're still flowering. All of our pots, last year's pots, all good for a clean, and all making sure that we get the right rinse out before we start using them again. And then up the garden, we've got all of our fruit bushes, which are looking very, very sad because all the leaves have gone. But don't worry, in a few months they'll be flowering again, and all the leaves will certainly come out. Down in the grass here, you remember, hopefully, I was plonking in bulbs. You can see here that the bulbs have come through, and this has gone through about 6 to 10 inches of soil to get through. So we've got various bulbs popping through now, which add a bit of colour to this part of the garden, which is really nice. And over here, we've got a similar thing going on where we've got the wisteria tree, which has it's gone back there, but you can see, hopefully, bulbs popping through here as well. So we're going to have a nice little display here. And the plan is to put raised beds in the garden along here. We have the chairs at the back in the garden, and we'll build around those really. That's the plan anyway. And looking through the garden, you can see the colour's pretty much gone. Hanging baskets still have some. It's a wonderful day, by the way, which is really nice. The rosemary's still looking really resplendent, but everything else pretty much is saying goodbye for the winter, and we're going to leave them alone as much as possible now really, and do most of our work indoors. So I'll go back inside now and show you what I'm planning out for the rest of the year. Okay, as promised, finally, here's the little list of things that the experts think we should be doing in January in the garden, I suppose moving into February. So if we take this year's Gardener's World calendar, which you can pick up by getting a copy of Gardener's World magazine, and it should still be in the shops, but if not, look online. You may order it from Gardener's World, but in here it says jot down key sowing dates into your calendar. Start to do that. That's the next job to do. Start a journal to record successes and plan changes. Did that last year for the first time. Definitely worth doing. Really helpful. Order seeds of new varieties and crops that you've not tried before or you want to try. That's another lovely thing to do. And we're going to focus this year a lot more on chilies. So ordered a few exotic varieties, a few more pots. Use the front garden much more as well, and try and get as many chilies as possible, because we're still eating the ones from last year at the moment. So they would give you a return on all of the work you put in. And then last year's Gardener's World calendar, the advice here is sow chilies, so we can make a start soon. Probably at the end of this month, start popping them into the propagator. And I got a propagator for Christmas, heated one, so we give those a great start, as well as the ones on the windowsill, which you remember back from March and the first sets of these videos. Casing, to put the soil in and the seeds in, and then a carrier bag over the top, and that's a great propagator on a windowsill. So we're doing that as well, end of this month with the chilies. Then it says next thing is open greenhouse vents, the first hint of warmth, so get some air moving through the places where you've got seeds stored, or where you're going to store things later in the year. And gooseberry cuttings, take gooseberry cuttings. So I'll be doing that as well. Again, later this month we'll be cutting them back, the gooseberries, and all the blackberries and black currants as well. But then also, taking some cuttings maybe and see if we can grow some more. Adam Frost's book. The quick checklist in here is cleared leaves and debris, so keep tidying things up. Dig over empty beds. Protect plants. Feed birds and wildlife. And I think when we look at clear leaves and debris, going back to a point that was made in the last blog and in the comments, is think about nature when you're doing things as well. If you're not going to plant an area, or it's not really that important, leave some debris there, let the little things grow and thrive, because in the grand scheme of things, they're the things that keep the garden growing. The small things are eaten by the bigger things, which are eaten by the bigger things, and they get rid of pests and diseases as well. So think about your garden as a whole, as an ecosystem, and how you can make sure that all parts of it live and thrive. And then order seeds is Adam's last point in here. And I think that's about it from the Observer. Anything in here? I don't think there's much here, but you can prune your apples and pear trees if you want to do that sort of thing. Currants and gooseberry bushes. You can start planting onions and shallots, and even seed potatoes. You can start chitting those. So it all depends really what your thing is. But for us, it's about. I think this month's about prepping for next month, so we're in a good place for March, and then the time when the sun starts coming out a bit more. So that's January done. Stay well, stay fit, stay strong. We're starting to move into this year. There's hope on the horizon, not in a Boris Johnson sense, in a realistic scientific sense. Some of us won't be getting a jab for quite a while because we're under 50, but just bear with it. Things will start getting better. The days will start getting lighter. We'll start having a bit more hope, and as a business, I do believe we're starting to thrive. So bear that in mind and keep that at the top of your mind. And if you are struggling, remember there are people you can reach out to, people like me, other mental health first aiders, and other people who are, trained to support you. So please use us. It's going to be an interesting year, but a year I think where we think about people even more, and we think about how we can encourage people to take a more of a listening and the questioning approach, and think about how we coach people to become more resilient, better managers, and more productive. And more productive means less worried about sometimes the detail and being perfectionists. But anyway, that's for another time, another blog. For now, thanks for watching, and have a great rest of the month, and I'll see you in February.